we've called this gathering the Art of Allowing for a long time, and the reason we do is because we want you to understand that what allowing really is no longer doing that thing that holds you out of the vortex. In other words, allowing really implies, we want you to hear this fully, the vortex will take you in unless you're doing something that doesn't allow that. So the art of allowing is the art of letting go enough that the vortex will take you in. But what it really requires is knowing what being in the vortex feels like and deliberately practicing that vibration. Earlier we said, if you're watching CNN or one of the news channels and you're watching it through the evening and you're seeing a repeat of what's going wrong in the world and you're staying tuned to it long enough, it will tune it. You are then allowing your vibration to be tuned to a lower frequency. You're practicing the lower frequency vibration. If you will allow yourself to be in the vortex will tune you. Here's a better way of saying it. The vortex will train. It will train your vibration upwards. So every moment that you spend there, especially every conscious moment, every moment that you are feeling some relief from negative emotion, every moment that you are feeling an improved emotion is you allowing the vortex to train your frequency upward. So we've been talking about this vortex, which is summoning you, and if you're in despair, it's summoning you, but the little bit of vortex gravitational pull that it has on you might only bring you to revenge, but it's still calling you. And if you don't dig in revenge, it will call you into anger. And if you don't dig in anger, it will call you into hope. And by the time it has called you to hope, the vortex will take you in. So what we're suggesting to you, because as we feel you here in this room, your normal vibration is not one of despair or revenge or anger. You vacillate for the most part between overwhelmment and frustration and hope and into joy. In other words, that's about where you are most of the time, with an occasional dip into something darker, but usually you're somewhere in the vicinity of that, which means your vortex can take you in if you will allow it. So how might you allow it? Well, the first thing is, notice when you're in and try to milk it. In other words, when you find yourself in the vortex, be as general in your thinking as you can be. Because the more general you are, the less resistant you will be. When you really think about it, when you ponder those deepest, darkest moments that you've ever been in, don't go there, but just theoretically follow us here. You have become really specifically, almost obsessively focused upon something that just took you further and further and further from who you are. Isn't that right? In other words, you got so specific, you remembered what he said, you remember what she said, you remember what he did, you remember what they did, you remember where you were, you remember what you were eating, you remember what you were playing, you remember what song was playing on the radio. In other words, you're specific, and you're specifically resistant to who you are. So the first really helpful rule of thumb to get into the vortex is, when you find yourself feeling negative emotion of any kind, no matter how negative it is, say to yourself, go general, go general, go general. For example, if something is not going well at your place of employment or in your work, and you're thinking about the specifics of it, and you've got yourself all in a knot, and it feels like no one's cooperating and it's not going well, say to yourself, go general, and step back from it and say to yourself something like, well, at least I have a job. Now that might fling you right off into the bushes, but or say something like, this too shall pass, or say something like, all in all, things are going pretty well. In other words, the more general you can become, the more ease you will feel right now. Because we promise you, and this is the point that we want to get across to you like you've never heard it before, you are not ever going to wrestle your problem or your problem maker to the ground and make them stop. It defies all law. You're not going to do it. The more you focus on the problem, the bigger it's going to be, but even more important, the more stuck to it you are going to be. So you got to go general, and you're going to discover as you go general that as you get general, as you get general, as you get general, very general. Oh, the sun came up this morning. That's such a good thing. And I'm still breathing. That's a wonderful thing. Now we know you think that's silly because it's so general and off the point you're trying to make. But if you will stop trying to make the point you're trying to make, the vortex will take you back in. Now this is the wonderful thing about the vortex. The vortex knows everything you specifically want about all the things you specifically don't want. In other words, all the specifics are in the vortex. You just can't get to the specifics of them when you're tied to the specifics of their opposite. Does that make sense? So by going general, by clearing your mind, by breathing deeply, by focusing on something else, by going general, the vortex will take you in. And as you do it again and again, and you allow the vortex to take you in, the vortex will train, it is our promise to you, your frequency upward to match the frequency of all of those specifics that you have already incrementally been putting into your vortex, sometimes over a long period of time. Sometimes the stuff you just put there yesterday or 10 minutes ago. And as you allow your frequency to raise, the specifics of that vortex will begin to reveal themselves to you. It will feel to you that you've turned around on a dime. It will feel to you that the negative veil has lifted and that now all that has been promised is coming. But what really will have happened is you will have let go of the specifics that have been holding you out, allowed the general to take you in, and with practice you will allow the vortex to train you into the frequency of all that you are, of all that you want, of all that you deserve, of all that's there for you. And those who know you, who are watching you, will say, what is this transformation? You seem to feel so good. And you will reply, I do. And they will say, and you seem to be getting everything you want, no wonder you feel so good. And you will say, no, I felt good, and then the things came. I'm not feeling good in response to the things coming. That was the flawed premise that I was going on for so many years. I thought I'd wait for my luck to turn and then I'd have a celebratory party. Now I understand I have to have the celebration first and then my luck turns.